we wrap up, we just have one short presentation and then one final panel discussion, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. I'd like to introduce, without any further ado, Hammoud, the General Manager of Oase, who today will be talking to us about integrating water sustainability and community in modern landscapes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ali Hammoud.
So, hello everyone, happy to be here today and to speak about something which is definitely one of the most fun part in the landscape development, the water features. I will show some durable case studies and some examples how water features can enhance the development and the experience of the visitors in any developments. As a start, I would like to show you one video. So that video is a very good example. This shows the capabilities of a water feature and the nowadays technology behind. Here you can see every single jet is individually controllable, and it's controllable in speed and height and color, and it's a modular system. So here you have actually a complete pool behind the surface. And you have a low voltage pump system, light, underwater drivers, power supplies, everything is inside the pool. And that gives you an endless capability of doing the show programming behind also. If we can raise the volume a little bit. So that fountain, the shape is actually quite simple. It's a rectangular shape, a dry deck fountain, a walkable one, but even with this simple shape, you can create a lot of interaction with the fountain. So you have, as I mentioned, the complete system is submersible. There's a pool below the surface. So that's not the way a conventional fountain is designed and produced. Now we have the technology, everything below. We have the pumps, the lights, and everything is there. So we can, what we need from the technical room is just some power cables and some pipes for the filtration to circulate the water. So by having this, you reduce the piping system behind, you reduce the cabling behind, you have less civil works, smaller technical rooms, less power consumption because you have everything inside the pool. And also you have a water treatment system in place which circulates the existing water all the time, filters it and brings it back to the pool, so you don't need any new water. And additionally, on top of this, there is a wind level sensor in place which measures the wind speed and accordingly reduces the fountain heights to avoid any sprays and to recollect the water again. All the system is controllable by DMX and gives feedback back to the control panel itself and the controller so that you can do proactive maintenance and monitoring. Having all these measures in place can help to reduce splashes and have a long living water feature, but We can even take this one step further and make use of the salt water, which we obviously have a lot of here in the region. And so this gives us a lot of advantages. So we can make use of that huge amount of salt water which is available. We don't need to have fresh water and a filtration system behind. We have big savings on freshwater consumption, and it can be placed in an open sea in different kind of ways. So you can, I will go into more details a bit later in the next videos, which I'm going to show. So you can either have a floating structure or you have a fixed structure inside the water. So, but first of all, if we talk about saltwater environment, we have different challenges to face. So we don't have only the corrosion, but the bigger challenge is even the marine life, which settles on the surface of the equipment and can cause a lot of damage. So these are topics which have to be considered from the beginning, also in terms of maintenance and installation and operation later. So there are measures in place which we have been implementing for water features which are now for more than for a decade in the water. There is the use of materials, of course, which are seawater or corrosion resistant, but there's also sacrificial anodes to protect the items. There's earthing systems, galvanic isolation for the materials, but we have also developed a system which we call anti-fouling system. So that's something which prevents the larvae from settling on the surface inside the water and reduces the marine life a lot. One example I would like to show, as I mentioned before, there are different types of salt water applications. So this depends also on let me run the video while I'm showing you this. So this also depends on the requirements on site. Do you have tidal changes? Is this close to the shore? Is this more far away? In this case, we had a man-made lagoon in Saudi Arabia, in Al-Khubar, which also goes where we had tidal changes, and it goes with the seawater level. So we supplied a floating structure which goes up and down with the tidal changes. The water feature equipment is all installed inside the barge, which you can see here quite well and at daytime, and that during the night it's actually invisible. So the whole length of this one is around 150 meters long. The project has two water features. One is the floating one, and one is the one at the bridge. This one we have some group-controlled jets which have different throw widths and can create the different patterns by also using the illumination as a feature during the night time. Since we don't have much time, I will proceed to the next ones. This is another example in Huis-ten-Bosch in Japan, which is a bit more closer to the shore, which is implemented into an entertainment park. Here we also have a floating structure with different features combined with the overall experience of the theme park. Another example is in Malta, where we have a fountain in place since 2013. We have, this is a fixed pool structure above the seawater level. We have a pumping station below, pumping up the water, and by this you can control the water level inside the pool. So by doing this, you don't need a floating structure anymore. So you have a kind of catwalk where you install the water feature materials on it, and where you can do the maintenance, etc., when you lower down the water level. A similar case in Dilmunia in Bahrain, which, by the way, has won the Landscape Middle East Award in 2023. This is a man-made canal, a 1.6 kilometer long one, and where there is a pumping station below. It's a concrete basin on top where the water flows. Let me run the video so you have an impression. So the canal, as I mentioned, is like 1.6 kilometers long. There are several water features along the canal. And where the main attraction is the one in front of the Delmulia Mall, where we have the dancing fountain here. And here we also have a kind of catwalk. We have a fixed water level, since we have an overflowing system at the end of every canal where the water goes back into the sea. So we are just circulating the seawater through the canal, and here is the end of on one side, and we have the water feature inside. Okay, then I have one last video I would like to show you, which is also shortlisted for the awards today. This is design of a water fountain in Jeddah. In this case, we have a bit of a combination of both, because we have a man-made lagoon, but the water goes also with the tidal changes, with the seawater level. So we have a kind of catwalk, a fixed structure inside, but with a pool with an overflowing effect. So we can keep the water feature fixed for the water fountain equipment itself, whereas the water or the lagoon water level goes down and up with the tidal changes. This is currently under construction.
So this project was in the shortlist this year?
And this is shortlisted this year, correct.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Hammoud, thank you so much for your presentation. Keep this running. I like watching water features, really fantastic. Thank you so much.